So far in the training videos we've covered regarding the temperature uniformity survey function, we've focused on collecting data from the data logger system with the TUS frame inside the furnace. It's important to note though that if we look at the AMS 2750 standard in detail, in addition to the TUS frame data, there are documented requirements for you to prove that the other sensors that are used in the control and the monitoring of the furnace are also made available. As you can see here in section 3.5.10, there's a need for you to collect the temperature data for the control and recording sensors. And in addition to that, you need to prove that those sensors do not exceed the upper tolerance limit of the survey levels that you are monitoring against. For this very reason, Phoenix temperature measurement in the ThermalView survey software allow the ability, in addition to reviewing the temperature uniformity survey data from the data logger system, to actually allow the facility to import the data possibly from other sensors, control thermocouples, or other sensors that are used to control or monitor the furnace itself. And what I'd like to do now is show you how that is performed. On the screen at the moment, you will see a very characteristic temperature uniformity survey for 9 thermocouples on the TUS frame. What we need to do though is to import additional data to complement this from a single control thermocouple. We're assuming that the control thermocouple data is achievable or is available in a spreadsheet format, because what we're going to do is we're going to use a feature called import from clipboard. So all you need is the data for the control thermocouple in an Excel spreadsheet. You can actually copy and paste that directly into the ThermalView survey software itself. So you can review it alongside the TUS data that we've collected from the data logger system. So here we have our example, a very simple control thermocouple. We have our spreadsheet data set that's been exported from the sensor itself, the monitoring system that is used to record and monitor that sensor response. All we need to do is to copy that data set. We don't need to worry about the time base, just the raw data, knowing what the sample interval is. This data obviously has to synchronize with the temperature uniformity survey. So it's important to know that the first data point you're collecting from your control thermocouple matches the date and time of the data that we're going to look at within our ThermalView survey from the data logging system from the test run that's been performed. Having copied this data, we export it, and the dialog box that comes up for the import data via clipboard, we would then put in the credentials for the data set, because we're just taking a string of temperature readings. We put the sample interval in, the start time, identify the logger and the serial number, and you can see here that the software will automatically identify we've got one set of data. Therefore, we can actually put in the control thermocouple label if we wish, and we're going to overlay this on the present TUS profile. Simply press the paste button, and that will then incorporate that data into our currently active TUS run. Having done so, you can see now, in addition to the 9 thermocouple readouts for the data logger, We have 1 through to 9 from the Phoenix system. We also have this additional channel, channel 11, which is our control thermocouple. You'll identify that in the probe label, we can see the isolated thermocouple, and you can see here that the data is now displayed on the thermal view survey graphical view in addition to the TUS software or the data that's from the data logger. And we can see that we are achieving a stable response from the control thermocouple, and as required by the standard, we are not exceeding the upper limit. So we're documenting the data not just from the TUS itself, but the control thermocouple in the way that is required by AMS 2750 and CQI 9. So let me now show you exactly how the software is operated to import the control thermocouple trace to complement this TUS with 9 thermocouples on our test frame. So if I go to File, I'm going to go to the Import Data from Clipboard option because my control thermocouple data has been exported from the control thermocouple measuring system as an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file. If I go therefore to that data set in Excel, all I need to do is to select the control thermocouple data as a single string. You've got the sample interval here, but I don't need to incorporate that into the copy and paste operation. So I'm going to copy that data set, go back to the software and click Next. And it's now detected that I've imported a string of data. I just need to now complement that with the credentials of the data because obviously it's just a string of temperature values. So the sample interval is 10 seconds. I'm going to change the start time to 0 base. The logger, we're going to call it external 123, and the serial number is ABC123 for demonstration purposes. And I can call the control thermocouple. Okay. I'm going to overlay this data on the existing TUS information that we've already gathered from the Phoenix temperature measurement data logger. And all I simply need to do is then press paste. And you can see now that on the screen, in addition to the 9 thermocouples, we have this channel 11. If I go to the temperature data, you can see we've got channels 1 through to 9 from the data logger, and now channel 11, which is the control thermocouple. And if I zoom into the TUS level itself, you can see here that channel 11, which is blue, is now shown on the graph relative to the data logger data, showing me how the control thermocouple response changes throughout the actual test level. This satisfies therefore the AMS 2750 requirement, and you can see whether or not this trace actually exceeds the upper limit and proves that it's within the tolerance band as defined by the TUS level criteria. So that's as simple as it gets to overlaying the trace. This was just one single trace, but if you've got more than one control thermocouple, you can just simply copy and paste different columns of data and they will then be represented on the same trace.